Maybe I should just go over there and call it quits, huh?
Yeah, I mean, what is sex without love and romance and compassion?
That's it, Pop! That's what I'll do! A retirement party!
When ROC premiered on Fox in 1991, no one could predict the mark it would leave. It's a perfect mix of comedy and drama that quickly won hearts, but behind the scenes, the cast was quietly making history. From theater-born chemistry and daring the live broadcasts to Jamie Foxx's wild improvisations and unaired episodes, secrets emerged that reshaped the show's legacy. What did the cast reveal? And how does it change everything we thought we knew? Join us as we uncover what the 1991 ROC cast revealed that most fans never discovered. A different kind of sitcom. ROC was born when Fox decided to expand its sitcom programming by adding a comedy-drama series relatable to working-class African Americans. The story centered on the life of Charles "Rock" Emerson, played by Charles S. Dutton, a garbage collector in Baltimore, and his wife, Eleanor, played by Ella Joyce, a nurse. They lived with ROC's freeloading brother, Joey, played by Rocky Carroll, and ROC's father, Andrew, played by Carl Gordon. The series debuted on the 25th of August, 1991, and audiences immediately noticed that the show didn't look or feel like the average sitcom. It consisted of long takes and natural dialogue that often felt like a live play. The way the cast acted brought a realism that only a few sitcoms could replicate. But that wasn't the only thing the cast got. While many sitcoms rely on writers and directors to create chemistry, ROC had an advantage that many fans were unaware of. Most of the cast had performed together on Broadway series and spent years training themselves to become the best in their careers. There was no way that relationship wouldn't be obvious. This meant that what audiences saw on screen wasn't a sitcom family faking closeness, but a group of professionals who already trusted each other and knew how to listen and respond naturally.
If I gotta read yesterday's funnies to get me a wall like that, it's okay with me.
So when ROC and Joey argued, it didn't feel scripted. Instead, it felt like real moments between two men who had been clashing for years. Same as how the romance between ROC and Eleanor didn't feel staged. After all, these were friends in real life. But what made the show powerful wasn't just the cast's ability to play off each other. It was what they brought into those performances from their own lives and personal histories that connected directly to the issues ROC put on screen. How could their personal stories connect with a show they didn't write? When life shapes a script. Initially, the sitcom began like a traditional series, but it gradually started to address serious social issues head-on. Topics like racial struggles, gang violence, illegal substance use, and youth crime were avoided by most sitcoms of the early 90s. They would rather show family-friendly laughs. But ROC dove right in, and here's the thing. Those stories weren't abstract for the cast. They were personal. Take Charles S. Dutton, for example. Before becoming an actor, he spent time in prison. It was there, behind bars, that he discovered theater and turned his life around.
I'm Charles S. Dutton. Last summer, I came back here to Baltimore, Maryland, to film a story about life on the corner.
So when ROC Emerson raged against the crime and drugs tearing Baltimore apart, that passion wasn't faked. He knew the pain of wasted lives, and he poured that truth into his performance. Carl Gordon, who played ROC's father, Andrew, had lived through the civil rights movement and carried that history with him. His character often clashed with ROC over generational differences, particularly in how to navigate the world as a black man, including the balance between fighting and enduring. They were more than lines, but real debates that Carl had lived himself. Ella Joyce, as Eleanor, often said, her character reminded her of the women in her own family who were pillars of strength and held households together despite constant pressure. The fact that she could relate was evident in every scene she played. There was even an episode where ROC and Eleanor took in Calvin's daughter Sheila after Calvin had gone to prison. It was a scenario that the cast could relate to. So when ROC tackled topics like police brutality or economic hardship, the cast didn't need to act like they understood, because they actually did understand. That's why the show resonated so profoundly with audiences who felt ignored by mainstream television. And yet, as powerful as the social themes were, the heartbeat of ROC wasn't politics. It was family. And the depth of that family story was another thing fans never fully realized. Charles often acted like a mentor and protector on set, especially toward Rocky Carroll, who was younger and still carving out his career. That mirrored ROC's protective, yet sometimes frustrated, love for his brother, Joey. Carl Gordon became a father figure not just in the script, but in real life, guiding the younger cast with wisdom and encouragement. Ella brought warmth to both the set and her character's marriage, reinforcing the sense that ROC and Eleanor were truly in it together. This real-life bond translated into emotional depth, and fans may not have known it at the time, but the reason they connected deeply with this TV family was because the cast had, in many ways, become one.
I mean, you brought happiness into this house, man. You brought Daddy in here. You brought me in.
And that sense of authenticity made ROC strong enough to do something no other sitcom of its time dared to try, by handing the spotlight to a rising comedian and letting him improvise his way into television history. But who was it? And what was its effect on the show? The rise of Jamie Foxx. Before he was an Oscar-winning actor, Jamie Foxx was just a young comedian finding his way, and when an opportunity to be part of ROC's cast presented itself, Jamie went for it. On ROC, he played Reverend Leon Lonnie Love, who was a loud and often hilarious character. What fans didn't realize was that much of what they saw wasn't written in the script at all. Jamie was known for his quick wit and his ability to riff on any situation. On set, he often improvised lines, gestures, and reactions that caught even the cast by surprise.
Thanks for taking the heat from me, Rock, man. I love you, man.
Don't touch me, George.
But instead of shutting him down, Charles S. Dutton and the rest of the team embraced the unpredictability and let Jamie's improvisation create moments of genuine surprise and laughter. This gave the show an energy most sitcoms couldn't match. One moment, the scenes were serious. The next, Jamie was breaking the tension with a perfectly timed joke. Viewers could sense that it was spontaneous in-the-moment comedy, not rehearsed. Looking back, those improvisations were a preview of Jamie's future brilliance, but they also prepared the sitcom for something even bolder. Because if Jamie's improv brought a sense of danger to the comedy, the producers soon decided to bring that same danger to the entire show. Television without a safety net. TV shows are safe by design. They are taped, edited, polished, and shot repeatedly until they are flawless. But ROC broke that rule when, for its second season, Fox decided the entire show would be performed live every week. They first attempted to do so by broadcasting a live episode in February 1992, which featured Charles Dutton's then-wife, Debbie Morgan. Since it ended up being successful, they felt ready to show. That meant no retakes or second chances. If someone forgot a line or something went wrong, it all aired live. Fans at home were watching theater, not television, with all the tension and magic of a live performance. To make it even more realistic, virtually every episode from Season 2 began with a prologue in which one of the cast members directly addressed the home viewers for a few minutes. In fact, a current events item from the past week, or even that very day, would be mentioned to prove that East Coast viewers were indeed watching a live performance, and sometimes the events were even incorporated into the dialogue. One episode dealt with the 1992 presidential election and aired the Sunday before the election. As the Emersons await the results, the director interrupts the program to mention that the results are unknown, causing the characters to feel dismayed.
That the next president of the United States is...
Cut! Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
A Fox executive even said that ROC didn't feel live to audiences because the actors were so good and made no mistakes, all thanks to their experience as theater actors, where everything plays out in real time, and audiences felt it. The show suddenly had a unique energy, sharper and more immediate than anything else on TV. Every week felt like an event. For fans, it was thrilling, because they never knew what might happen. For the cast, It was a test of their skills. And they delivered. Looking back, this live season was historic. ROC made history as the first primetime scripted American series since the late 1950s to broadcast each episode of an entire season live, and no one repeated this feat until 2016, when the entire third season of NBC's Undateable was broadcast live. And yet, the live experiment wasn't the only way the show embraced spontaneity. Sometimes ROC would end with something that wasn't even scripted at all. Imagine watching a sitcom, and instead of the usual credits rolling with a canned theme song, the cast and guest musicians broke into live music. That was ROC. Charles Dutton was passionate about music, and Baltimore had a rich cultural connection to jazz and soul music. So the producers began inviting musicians to perform at the end of episodes. While some were planned, others were almost entirely unexpected. For fans, these moments felt magical. One minute you were laughing at ROC and Joey's latest antics. The next, you were watching live art unfold. Some nights, the cast themselves joined in, singing or improvising along with the band. It gave ROC a warmth and authenticity no other sitcom could match. But there was something deeper here, too. These performances blurred the line between sitcom and community showcase. It became a celebration of Black artistry and culture. For a network show in the early 90s, that was rare and revolutionary. Those performances are also connected to another secret about ROC, something you might not realize unless you've gone back and re-watched the episodes carefully. But what was it that only a second watch could reveal? Legends on set. One of the most remarkable things about ROC is how it became an avenue for talents to showcase themselves long before they became legends. Before Samuel L. Jackson became the highest-grossing actor of all time, with roles in Pulp Fiction, The Avengers, and Star Wars, he made his debut in a minor role on the television series ROC. Most viewers at the time probably didn't blink twice about him, but looking back now, it feels almost surreal to see such a towering figure of cinema appear casually on a sitcom stage in Baltimore.
Hey, Rob. Hello, Eleanor.
How you doing, Larry? Thanks for the cufflinks.
Oh, I hope they're not too garish.
And then there's Jennifer Lewis, who is celebrated today as the mother of Black Hollywood, known for her commanding voice and unforgettable roles in What's Love Got to Do with It,
I don't think you gonna come live in my house and make me feel bad.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Blackish. She also made an early appearance on ROC. Back then, she was still building her reputation and establishing her presence. Today, her presence on the show feels like a special little Easter egg for fans who recognize her. But perhaps the biggest surprise is the appearance of Toni Braxton. Yes, that Toni Braxton, who became the R&B powerhouse, who would go on to sell over 70 million records worldwide. Long before her chart-topping ballads like Unbreak My Heart, she popped up in ROC as a minor character. For fans watching in the 90s, she was just another guest. For fans revisiting today, it's like spotting a diamond in the rough. That's part of what makes ROC such a cultural time capsule. The way it allowed music and film legends to shine is something you don't see in most sitcoms of its era. However, while these stars were advancing in their careers, ROC itself was facing an uncertain path. What was that mystery that still haunts fans today? The unfinished story. As you know by now, ROC gave the audience something new and socially aware. However, television is a brutal business. By its third season, the show was up against some other top shows in the same time frame, including Murder, She Wrote, and America's Funniest Home Videos. Despite how much people loved the show, numbers don't lie. And when numbers didn't do well enough, Fox had to make the difficult decision to end the show in 1994. Here's the part that frustrates longtime fans. In its three-season run, ROC produced a total of 72 episodes, but not all of them ever saw the light of day. One episode that had been shot and was ready to air was never broadcast during the original run. To this day, many fans have debated why this is the case. Was it because of network scheduling? Was it a content issue that made executives nervous? Or was it simply lost in the shuffle of programming changes? The truth has never been fully explained, which only serves to strengthen the mystery. And the frustration doesn't end there.
I ain't sitting on no stool for 2 hours, pretending to drive no wrinkled-up old white lady to no Piggly Wiggly.
Unlike many other 90s sitcoms that got a second life through home media, ROC has never been officially released on DVD. Fans have petitioned and pushed online campaigns for years. However, the whole series still hasn't received the treatment it deserves. That means for younger audiences or even original fans who just want to revisit every moment, vast chunks of the show remain inaccessible. And as every year passes, the absence only hurts more. Why? Because ROC was more than just entertainment. It was a part of history, and it deserved to be preserved. If the fans and lovers of the show are unable to move on from the missing episode, how then did the cast move on after the show ended? Life after ROC. When ROC ended, its cast went on to remarkable journeys. Charles S. Dutton became one of the most respected actors on television and film, winning multiple Emmy Awards. He quickly returned to film and took on roles in projects that allowed him to showcase his dramatic depth. In the mid-1990s, he appeared in films like Alien 3 and Menace II Society, where he demonstrated his ability to portray both authoritative figures and gritty characters effortlessly. One of his most celebrated roles came in the 2000 HBO miniseries The Corner, directed by David Simon, the same mind behind The Wire. In The Corner, Charles played a recovering addict in a powerful story about life in West Baltimore. His performance earned him an Emmy Award, cementing his place as one of the finest character actors of his generation. Later, he would win 2 more Emmys for guest appearances on Without a Trace and The Practice. Throughout the 2000s, Charles continued acting in roles in shows like House MD, Resurrection Belvedere, and movies such as Rudy, Secret Window, and Cookie's Fortune. And 10 years later, Charles began directing more projects, including stage plays and television films. While he may not headline network shows the way he once did,
Talking about my life to actually perform scenes from August Wilson, from Shakespeare, Douglas Turner Ward, and on and on and on.
his legacy as an actor, director, and activist remains firmly intact. For many, Charles S. Dutton will always be remembered as ROC, but his career after the sitcom proved he was capable of so much more. And while Charles was busy carving his path, his on-screen wife, Ella Joyce, also stepped into her own journey, one that kept her closely tied to television and even unexpected places you might not expect. Post-ROC, Ella appeared in guest spots on many hit TV series, including Seinfeld, My Wife and Kids, Touched by an Angel, and The Jamie Foxx Show. She often portrayed strong women who were both nurturing and no-nonsense, reflecting the qualities she naturally brought to her portrayal of Eleanor. In film, she worked steadily, taking on roles in projects such as the 1996 movie Set It Off, where she played Queen Latifah's mother, and the 2002 cult classic horror comedy Bubba Hotep, starring Bruce Campbell. Ella also had recurring roles in shows like Bells, where she continued to embody maternal and mentor-like characters. Theater remained a passion for Ella. She returned frequently to the stage, appearing in productions like A Raisin in the Sun, The Almond Corner, and Don't Get God Started. Beyond her acting, Ella also dedicated herself to teaching and mentoring. She became known for coaching actors, particularly young black performers.
Those are my regular haunts, and people always inviting me to other places wherever they're performing, because people know I love jazz.
Guiding them on how to navigate both stage and screen. Her belief in the power of storytelling extended beyond her own career, and she spent years helping others find their voice in the arts. Though she never landed another leading TV role quite as prominent as Eleanor in ROC, Ella Joyce carved out a respected career as a working actress and mentor, and her portrayal of Eleanor remains one of the best representations of a black wife on TV. Rocky Carroll, who played ROC's brother Joey as a charming but flawed character often struggling with gambling and other vices, went on to have perhaps the most high-profile television career of all the ROC cast members after the show ended. In fact, his career trajectory more or less exploded. Rocky transitioned seamlessly from comedy drama to more dramatic fare. He joined the cast of Chicago Hope in 1996, playing the role of Dr. Keith Wilkes. This role, introduced him to a broader mainstream audience and showcased his ability to handle complex medical storylines. But Rocky's most iconic role came in 2008 when he joined the cast of NCIS as Leon Vance, the new director of the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. Initially appearing in Season 5, his role quickly expanded, and he became a permanent part of the series. He didn't just act on the show, he eventually directed several episodes, proving his versatility behind the camera. In addition to NCIS, Joey made appearances on other series such as Grey's Anatomy, Boston Legal, and The Agency, further cementing his status as a strong supporting actor. Rocky Carroll's post-ROC career is often described as the most successful in terms of visibility and steady work. After ROC, Carl Gordon, who played ROC's wise and often stubborn father, Andrew Emerson, returned primarily to theater, where he had long been associated with August Wilson's plays. He was part of the original Broadway cast of Wilson's The Piano Lesson in 1990, and after ROC ended, he continued to perform in stage productions, often revisiting Wilson's works. On television, Carl appeared in a handful of guest spots, including roles on Law and Order and Law and Order, SVU.
I love to do love stories between two human beings, because there's all kinds of love stories, you know, besides being a man and a woman.
He also appeared in films like The Piano Lesson in 1995. Unfortunately, Carl's career was cut short by illness. He was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which he battled for several years before his passing in 2010 at the age of 78. While his screen credits after ROC were not as numerous as those of his co-stars, his influence as a stage actor and his memorable role as Andrew Emerson left a lasting mark. Which of these revelations about the 1991 ROC cast did you know before now? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.